Well, King-Ohger, you got my interest. The episode itself was a setup for the world that the show and our characters live in. Pretty much a long time ago, a divine god named King-Ohger, alongside with 5 heroes, defeated the Ragnarok. With the show gods, the 5 heroes became kings of their own kingdom that created Shiu. The prophecy said that in 2000 years the Ragnarok would return, so all 5 kings would need to come back to reunite and awaken King-Ohger. Well, I really like that the mecha is kind of the centerpiece of the team, with the mecha carrying the same name of our team, and having the mecha being this divine god is something that I don't believe we got in a long time. I hope we would hear him talk. That would be really cool. We did get a conversation between our Red and the Stag Beetle mecha, but we didn't heard how the Stag Beetle mecha actually sound like. The rest of the episode, we got introduced to our team in some sort of fashion. There are the 3 that didn't got as much, like Himeno, our Yellow Ranger. And first it appears she's going to be the resident stock-up queen, with her telling her servant that she's not ready to go to Shodam and complaining about them needed to walk their way to the castle. But you can see in the fight, she tells Gira to leave one of the girls alone because she would take care of them. So it might be just an act that she's putting on because, oh, Queen's supposed to be like that. Maybe she's the stock-up queen, but also she's selfless. It's a weird kind of contradiction, but hey, it's the first episode. I can't really say a lot about that. Rita being our Purple Ranger. They didn't say a lot, but you can clearly hear and see the air of authority in their voice and their mannerism. We still didn't got a lot of confirmation about Rita's gender, and because of that I would address them as they/them, but if let's say I'm addressing the actress, I would say she. So it's like, to not get you confused, I'm telling you right now, this is how it's going to work. Again, Rita is a very interesting character right now. She's probably my top 2 of the entire team, her and the next character that I'm actually going to talk about, Kakuragi, our Black Ranger. He looks really fun. Again, he very much almost represents a lord from the Edo period, not only for the way he dresses and the way his servants dress, specifically like with the cool little black kind of guard mask, I don't know really how to call it, that his main servant wears is really cool, but his personality has this aura of just being like this really fun, cool lord. I don't know really how to explain it, but it's just like, he looks fun. He looks like he's going to have a lot of interactions, specifically with our Blue Ranger, because the way their kind of kingdom almost counteract each other, so that's going to be very interesting. So yeah, those 3 didn't got as much, but you can clearly see the main focus of this episode being like Gust, our Blue Ranger. He's very much a douche, but all for the right reasons, because he can see through the King of Shogodam. But the problem was, he didn't talk to the other kings and queens of the other 4 kingdoms to see what they can do. So he leads them all to just meet in the room, and in the end he rejects kind of the idea of uniting together, because he believed that he can just revive the Stag Beetle mecha on his own. It shows that he has a lot to learn, specifically teamwork wise, so that's going to be very interesting, at least for whatever is going to be next for him. And next episode looks like it's going to be based around him more. There is Hasti, the actual king of Shogodam. He presents himself as this great gracious king that wants to protect Shiu, but when the Ragnarok attack, He doesn't do anything because he wants to take over the other 4 kingdoms. But it's more interesting that the stag beetle mech wasn't awakened before Gira touched his sword, so that could be very interesting. And his plan to take over the other 4 kingdom is kind of stupid because like, oh yeah, like I would just let the Bagnorak do their thing and then it would be a lot more easier to actually take over the other kingdom. Like, how do you know they will not just come to your kingdom and just try to kill you? Like, really? It's kind of dumb. And there is Gira, our Red Ranger. He lives in an orphanage in Shodam that always struggling with money. He gives himself the title of the King of Evil when he plays around with the other orphans. But when the Bagnorak attack, one of the orphans gets injured. And when Himenu tells him that she would take care of the girl, and the girl itself told him that the king would protect him, he just ran towards Hasty's castle. He gets to the main room of the castle and he just see Hasty just sitting there. Hasty kind of reveals to him his plans. Gira gets upset of Hasty sending the civilians to the slaughter for the sake of Hasty taking over all of the kingdoms. Gira rushes him and takes both his mental and the King-Ohger caliber, and he just activates the stag beetle mecha after pretty much proclaiming that he's the king of evil and he would take over the world. I don't know if it's like a personality change thing or it's like actually him believing that this is what he's going to do pretty much. And then he transforms into the Red Ranger and pilots King-Ohger. Right now, Gira is a fine character with some interesting things around him. Specifically, again, the King of Evil thing. Is it a personality thing? Is it something that he actually believes in? That's going to be kind of an interesting thing about him. Specifically, okay, how did the King-Ohger caliber understood that he was a king? Is it the idea that he proclaims himself as a king, but he's not actually? Again, it's going to be very interesting around that part. Maybe he has a connection to Hasty. Maybe he's, you know, the younger brother. Maybe he is the actual king of Shogadam. We don't know. But I have some sort of a fear that Gira is going to be our generic idiot red, and it's going to be very difficult because like after Momoi Taro, and I'm sorry that I'm like going to compare, but like after Momoi Taro, I kind of want my reds to be kind of those interesting characters that are very much flawed, and I truly hope that Gira is not going to be our perfect red that's going to be loud and obnoxious and actually have some flaws around him, and maybe the King of Evil thing, if it's a personality, would be one of his flaws. So yeah, to finish the review off, there are a lot more stuff that I kind of want to talk about briefly that I really liked, like the fight scenes. I thought they were cool. I really like the way they kind of used the volume screen. I don't know really how to call it otherwise, in scenery shots and the cockpits. If we are already talking about the cockpits, I really like them. Specifically the robot dude that kind of sits on top of the rangers that holds the sword. That's really cool. And I really liked the way that people know a little bit of the lore about King-Ohgers and the kings, and the idea that like, oh, the King-Ohger caliber is the symbol of being a real king. That's going to be kind of interesting to see more of the civilian elements knowing about the lore of the show. And to end the review off, the CG was good. Some of it was great. Some of it was some of it was really bad. So yeah, it's an overall good start to the show. I hope that this show would be continuing on the same leverage of this episode and trying to do better, but not dipping. So what did you all thought about King-Ohger's first episode? Comment below, let me know. If you didn't subscribe to my channel, please do. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.